Hey there. If you've been carrying this incredibly heavy, silent pressure lately, just consider this space a gentle, calming respite. Today, we're walking through some truly powerful stuff, focusing entirely on releasing that immense self-pressure so many of us carry around every single day. This explainer is really designed to be a soft landing pad for anyone who's just emotionally exhausted from constant overthinking and that relentless drive for perfectionism. It's a compassionate look at how we can finally give ourselves permission to slow down, drop the weight we were literally never meant to carry, and just breathe. So, wherever you are right now, take a deep breath, settle in, and let's explore how to release the pressure to begin again.
Are you exhausted by your own mind? I want to speak directly to you right now. So often we feel like we have to hold our lives together flawlessly, right? We carry this heavy, invisible weight in our chests and our shoulders, genuinely believing that just one wrong step, one single miscalculation, is going to ruin absolutely everything we've worked so hard for. You might be trying so incredibly hard to manage every detail, predict every outcome, and keep everyone happy that, well, you've simply forgotten how to rest. You might literally feel a physical tension, like a constant buzzing in the background of your days, just waiting for the other shoe to drop. If you're feeling that way right now, I completely validate that. It is incredibly tiring to live on high alert.
All right, let's get into section 1, the exhaustion of overthinking.
Our source material points out something really profound about this deep tiredness we feel. It notes that sometimes we get utterly exhausted, not necessarily because life itself is impossible to navigate, but because our own mental loops make it feel totally overwhelming. The events themselves aren't draining us. It's the fact that our minds literally never stop replaying them. We get totally trapped in what's called the mental loop. We replay old conversations, overanalyzing every single word we said, wondering if we sounded foolish or if someone took something the wrong way. We replay our past mistakes, just twisting them over and over, agonizing over what we should have done differently. And honestly, perhaps most exhaustingly of all, we endlessly replay imagined futures. Those fear-created situations that haven't even happened yet? We spend our precious current energy fighting these grueling mental battles that don't actually exist anywhere outside of our own heads. It's a huge drain on our spirits.
And you know what happens when we stay stuck in those endless loops? A really subtle but incredibly dangerous shift happens. Slowly, without even realizing it, we start treating ourselves like a problem that constantly needs fixing. We stop searching for peace inside ourselves and instead start feeling like we're fundamentally broken, or like we're continually failing at this whole life thing. It's like a daily courtroom inside your own head. You're the defendant, the prosecutor, and the judge all rolled into one. You put yourself on trial every single day, cross-examining your choices and judging your worth by your perceived flaws instead of your innate humanity. When you treat yourself like a project that's always behind schedule, you totally strip away the grace required just to be a human being trying their best.
Moving on to section 2, your mind is protecting you.
Okay, here is a beautiful, soft shift in perspective. Instead of being so angry at ourselves for all this overthinking, we need to look at exactly why our brains actually trap us in this exhausting cycle in the first place. The truth is, your mind was trying to protect you. I really want you to let that sink in for a minute. Your anxiety, your late-night overthinking, your obsessive planning, none of that is a fundamental flaw in your character. It's actually a defense mechanism. Your mind is acting like an overzealous bodyguard. It's just trying to predict every possible bad ending so it can keep you safe from getting caught off guard or getting hurt again. It scans the horizon for threats simply because it cares about your survival. So the absolute key takeaway here is that your mind really does mean well, even when its methods are completely exhausting you.
But here's the thing. Just because your mind is trying to keep you safe doesn't mean it's always right, and it certainly doesn't mean you have to listen to it. Not every fear deserves permanent residence inside your life. Not every thought deserves your full attention, and not every fear is actually grounded in reality. We've got to learn to let unfinished, fearful thoughts leave our minds without chasing them right down the rabbit hole. Think of these thoughts like leaves floating down a river. You can notice them passing by, acknowledge they're there, but you absolutely don't have to jump into the freezing water to catch them. You can let the fear pass. You can actually say to your brain, hey, thank you for trying to protect me, but we're safe right now and I don't need to entertain this fear today.
That brings us to section 3, reframing past mistakes.
Now, a massive chunk of this mental exhaustion we've been talking about comes directly from the immense pressure of perfectionism. It stems specifically from how harshly we view our own missteps. We so often hold on to this old, rigid way of thinking that says mistakes are undeniable proof of failure. That's the mindset that tells you a pristine track record is literally the only acceptable standard. and that one wrong step destroys your entire future. It's an incredibly fragile way to live, right? But the source text shifts us to a much healthier, more resilient reality. Mistakes are part of growth. Giving up the need for a perfect record is profoundly liberating. Because when you accept this, every mistake simply becomes a lesson, not a reason to fall apart. Uncertainty doesn't mean your future is broken, and a misstep doesn't erase your worth. It just means you're learning.
Because of this, we really need to make a conscious, powerful declaration. I release the pressure to be perfect. You are never meant to carry the impossible burden of being flawless. Releasing this pressure requires an active, daily mental process of letting go of the need to control every outcome or predict every single ending. It means intentionally stepping off the tightrope you've been walking. You do not need to know absolutely everything to be safe in this world. You can actually start to trust yourself a little deeper, knowing you are fully capable of handling whatever comes your way, moving forward confidently even when there's vast uncertainty.
Let's dive into Section 4, the power of quiet growth.
This brings us to a concept that completely redefines what healing actually looks like. What if healing is simply learning to rest? Society constantly pushes this narrative of loud, relentlessly productive healing. We're sold the idea that growth means overhauling our entire lives, waking up at dawn, running 10 miles, and fixing all our problems with aggressive positivity. But what if healing isn't about becoming perfect or hyperproductive at all? Consider that true, revolutionary growth might just be learning how to sit still and breathe again, without fear controlling every single thought. Maybe today isn't about fixing everything that feels broken. Maybe today is just about existing safely inside your own hands and giving yourself permission to simply be.
Let's look a little closer at what this actually means in practice. These are quiet, gentle examples of what profound growth looks like. Sometimes growth isn't a massive, visible life change that you announce to the world. Sometimes it's simply sleeping peacefully for the first time in weeks because you finally put your worries down. It's the massive victory of feeling a spike of fear but actively choosing not to respond emotionally to it, just letting it pass without it ruining your whole day. It's the incredibly brave act of forgiving yourself for being a messy, imperfect human being who sometimes gets it wrong, and it's choosing softness instead of self-punishment when you stumble. If you're doing any of these quiet, unseen things, please note that you are growing in ways that matter deeply. These are the victories that actually sustain a life.
And finally, Section 5. Permission to begin again. If your mind feels incredibly heavy right now, if you're carrying the weight of past regrets and future anxieties, I really want you to hear this directly. You are allowed to pause. You are completely allowed to step off the treadmill. You're allowed to stop overanalyzing every single decision you've ever made. You aren't behind in life. You're not ruined. You're not failing. You are simply learning, and that learning process deserves deep, deep compassion. Grant yourself the autonomy to take a break from the relentless self-improvement and just catch your breath.
Take a moment to really absorb this thought. Maybe peace begins the moment I stop putting myself on trial. Remember that courtroom in your head we talked about earlier? Well, you are the only judge and jury in that room, which means you hold the ultimate power. You have the power to bang the gavel, dismiss the case entirely, and end the self-punishment right now. You don't have to keep paying for the same mistakes over and over again. True peace isn't found when you finally become flawless. It's found the exact second you decide to lay down your weapons and declare a truce with yourself.
To find that lasting peace, we really have to actively let go of the heavy stones we've been carrying in our pockets for so long. We have to be able to say, I let go of imagined conversations that will never actually happen. I let go of fear-created situations that are draining my joy today. I let go of trying to predict imagined outcomes, and I completely let go of the immense, crushing pressure to control the universe. The past doesn't need repeating, and the future literally cannot be controlled. By willingly dropping these heavy burdens, we finally make room in our lives to breathe, to soften, and to trust ourselves to handle whatever comes next. We'll end today with this simple, wildly liberating truth. You can begin again, right now in this exact moment. And the truly beautiful part is, it's a cyclical process. If you stumble tomorrow, well, you can just begin again then too. Your future is still wide open before you. Your life, your story, your worth, none of it is decided by one mistake or one season of anxiety. So I want to leave you with a final thought to sit with today. What heavy imagined outcome will you actively choose to leave behind right now so you can finally take a deep breath, grant yourself a little grace, and simply begin again?